good wrong screen up there. Here we go. Okay, thanks. 玻璃面的不会没有颜色呀，加颜色的话用这个方法，它转来的这个折射的好像砂纸就是玻璃，给它弄光，用这个方法换颜色。
So what Chris is rolling through there is called frit. It's basically small grains of colored glass. We use different metal oxides to color the glass. Just by rolling through it a few times, puts a nice hue of purple color on this piece.
对，它呢说的那个这色的玻璃，它越得出来，说那个颜色会越来越深。
So he's just making a couple passes there. We have all the color on our piece now. He's now changed the color to that purple. He's heading over to our reheating furnace here to warm the glass up. This furnace is running at 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a lot hotter than our glass, so we can heat that glass up quickly.
现在到另外一个火炉，那个火炉没有玻璃，用砂的而已，温度比较高，所以现在才有给这个颜色的玻璃给它弄花。
So simply by keeping the glass in there, it warms that glass up. You're going to watch Chris return to that furnace quite often.
我们对象会看大一点，我们知道里面有气泡，不管它要做什么，大部分的东西这样的采取。
So there's a small golf ball size bubble of air in this piece now. Chris is just going to shake this glass up, cool it down, bring it to a sort of a rock hard state so we can gather a second layer over this piece.
现在它的玻璃还不够，所以要等温度下来，这下它要过去说呢，上次的这个玻璃一定要先等温度下来。
So that glass is now cooled down enough. It's about 1,000 degrees. This time it's going to have the ability to support the weight of a second gather.
等温度下来，因为太快进去，里面的气泡会破，所以它要过来，它要几秒钟的时间，继续说它的玻璃。
So Chris is going to gather up a second layer of glass this time. You're going to watch him come out with about twice or 3 times as much glass as he started with.
几秒钟的时间继续说它的玻璃，这个温度，我们的玻璃这个风一样很软，所以一直转这个接管，停下来，玻璃马上换下去。
So that's a lot more material there. Chris can now shape, center, and cool that glass using a slightly larger graphite block. That allows him to cool that glass off, bring it to a nice ink shape, so he can begin the pouring process.
现在用另外一个板子给它用平，也慢慢温度下来。现在用这块布，稍微改这个玻璃的形状。
He's now switched over to a felt steam pad. It's dipped in regular tap water again. The glass just rides on a thin layer of steam that's created between the glass and that felt pad.
可以看它还是一直在转这个接管，给它用平，马上过去烧。
So Chris has now tapered the form. He's getting ready to put it into one of our optic molds here on the stage. A series of molds, whichever one he goes into, will take the form when he comes out. We'll see how much the form changes.
所以烧的那个玻璃，现在放进去那个模型，它会吹到里面，给它慢慢，大家会看形状有点不一样。
So there you go. You can see he actually put a 12-point pattern, star pattern on that piece. He's going to go back into the furnace, warm this back up.
可以看得清楚在上面，马上过去烧。
So when he sits down this time, he can actually blow the glass slightly, really starting to inflate our piece that we're making here.
现在会慢慢的开始吹这个玻璃，这个温度，吹玻璃很容易，像我们还是吹气球一样。
Now he has to constantly cool the bottom of this piece because that's the hottest point in our glass piece. And in order to blow out a nice round shape, he has to cool the bottom before he inflates.
那是要那个碗的底比较厚一点，甚至它夹这个地方到最后会断成那个地方，那个不是碗口，我们的碗上面。
So Chris is also putting in a constriction line right off the end of that blowpipe. That's going to be where we later break this piece off and will become the lip or the opening of our piece.
所以它会夹那个地方好几次，因为要管很干净。也不能吹太快，吹太快的话，最下面会太火。
So he's really reinforcing that line, cooling everything down. In a second here, get ready to drop a foot on this.
等一下一你要说一点玻璃准备做这个碗的底这个碗下面。
So he's just using a little tube there to cool down the bottom, so it has enough, can support another layer of glass on it.
也可以看得出来是要两个人一起做，一个人做很不容易，所以现在一人做一点玻璃，他要过去也要到我们现在看上面，可是到最后会变成这个碗的底。
So this time I'm going to gather up some glass for Chris here. He can use this glass now to create a base for our piece. So when he's ready, we'll drop this glass right on here.
会剪，给它用平。
So that glass just falls right back on to the bottom. Chris can then just begin to shape that glass up using a graphite paddle to flatten it out.
用这个板子给它用平。
So I'm just going to provide a little pressure here on the bottom for Chris, making sure everything stays nice and straight.
咱们一起给它用平，因为我们的碗的底是要很平。马上过去再烧。
So the doors on our reheating furnace can open several times to make larger work. So Chris has to open those doors up a little bit in order to fit his glass piece into this reheating furnace.
那个火炉有几个门，东西比较大，可以打开另外一个门。我们也可以看到这个火里面，我们一个摄影机一片硅化玻璃，一样的不用在太空船的窗户，所以这个玻璃也不怕热。
So Chris is just going to cool the bottom off in a second here. We're going to get ready to transfer this piece. So what I need to do is make what's called a punny using a solid stainless steel iron.
所以我们碗的底已经好了，现在你要说一点玻璃准备换这个碗的位置到另外一个铁管，所以它可以开始把上面打开。
So a punny is just a small gather of glass on this iron. This glass acts like glue. It's going to stick on the bottom of Chris's piece, allowing us to break it off and transfer it onto this rod.
所以它说一点玻璃也不必很多，等下过去放中间，马上会粘。
So Chris is just getting everything set up here in a second. We'll stick this right onto the bottom.
所以放中间马上粘，等下 Chris 切一切，放一点滴水在刚才加的那个地方。
So that glass sticks right there. It actually fuses to the bottom of this piece. Now all we need to do is score the glass and break it off.
切一切，有一点水。 所以刚才端的地方留一个洞，就从那个地方会开始把上面打开。
So a little water and a light tap knocks that glass right off there. And we just have to return to the reheating furnace to warm the lip of this piece back up so that we can begin to open our bowl up.
这次用的时间比较久一点，在火炉要给它。